Welcome back to Fusion Basics. Today we're going to be learning how to use the Canvas tool and the Scale tool to create a chess piece. And I don't know, even if you don't like chess, these skills are still very useful. So you can see our finished model here that we're going to be creating. So now we're going to start by creating a new design, as always. And instead of creating a sketch, we are actually going to go over here to this menu and we're going to insert Canvas. So it might be pinned here. Otherwise, if it's not, it says Canvas right there. Then it'll bring up this pop-up. We want to insert an image from our computer. And here is the image I want. This is my chess piece image. So you can download any image of any chess piece off the internet and it'll basically work for this. So now if I double click that, I'm just going to use this front plane here. And then it doesn't really matter what you scale it at right now because we're going to use the scale tool later to scale it to what we want it to be in real life. So we can just click OK. After you can drag that corner. I can show you here as well. If we edit this feature, this corner, you can scale it here. Otherwise, you can scale plane. You can scale different directions or you can scale the whole thing. I usually just drag this because I like to scale the model after I've actually modeled it off of the image. We can click OK there. And now we can actually get to creating a sketch. And then we're going to create it on the same plane as the image so we can see the image there. And we're going to use the revolve tool again for this. So the difference here, though, is we're just doing it off of an image rather than freehanding it. So the first thing we have to do is we have to create that center line for us to revolve around. And then we're going to trace around with the fit point spline. We're going to trace around one half of the model, and then we can revolve it. And then this might take a second, but once you get this traced, then we can just go about the revolve tool, which you should remember because we just did that. And mine is not going to be exactly correct. You could certainly spend more time making it line up with the image better. But the important thing is that we're just tracing these lines around the image. And then I'm going to start another one. We're almost there. So yeah, my tracing is a little bit sloppy here. If I spent a little bit longer, I could get it down a bit better. But I don't think you want to sit here and watch me trace something forever. So this should work for now. And then we want to connect it together back with the center line, so then this turns into a solid shape here. And you can see it's pretty good. It's pretty close to what the chess piece is. So now we can finish the sketch, and we can use our revolve tool. So remember, that's in Create, and then revolve, so we can use this profile, and then the axis is that center line, and then we have a 3D chess piece. Now on to the second skill that we're going to learn how to do here, and there's a little bit of math involved in this, but we're going to learn how to scale this properly. But just a second, before we do that, you can see our image is still in there. So what we can do is we can just come over here in the side menu and we can just press the eyeball and then turn off our image. Well, you can see I did not trace it very well up there. It's a little bit lumpy, but that's okay. We can use the measure tool first. So we're first going to use the measure tool and we're going to click this point on the very top of the model, and then we can click this bottom face. So we can see it's 107.617 millimeters. So I'm just going to jot that down on a sheet of paper. 107.617. And then I want this to be 100 millimeters. So essentially what I'm going to do is I need to find the factor that I need to scale it by. So I'm going to be doing that by dividing 100. So I'm going to divide 100, so the value I want, by the value that it is. So 100 divided by 0.617. And I'm going to do that on a calculator because I'm lazy. And I got a scale factor of this extremely long number. So I'm just going to simplify that to 4 decimal points or whatever. So we can close the measurement tool, and now we can go into modify, and we can use the scale tool, and then click our model, and then it should automatically select the scale point and everything, and then put that number you got in as your scale factor. So 0.929221. That's probably good enough. And then I click OK, and then if I measure it, it should be very close to 100 millimeters. It's 100 millimeters exactly. So that's how you do it. It's that formula. It's basically you make it a fraction, and you put the number you want, like the scale you want your model to be, over the scale that it is, or over the measurement that it is right now. And then you plug in that number into the scale tool, and then you can get it to the accurate scale you want. And that was a quick introduction to the canvas tool and the scaling tool, and a little bit of the math you have to do behind that. But I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget to save your project.